So hello, everyone, and welcome to the second edition of TechScan's TekTalk series, Candid Conversations with Key Dental Influencers. So today we're talking with Dr. David Hornbrook, Dr. Mark Montgomery, and Reid. And in preparing for this, I was thinking, okay, so who are some famous trios, and what would you guys call yourselves? What trio would you most be like? And then I was going to have you guys just come up with your own. And then I thought, no, let me give you three options first. So that's what we're going to start with first before we do any introductions or anything like that. So if you guys could be the first trio, Luke, Leia, and Han from Star Wars. I know we have a bunch of, dental Star Wars fans out there.
Where's my gold bikini?
Right? The second is Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, and Eeyore. All right. And the third is Harry, Ron, and Hermione from Harry Potter. So what do you guys think?
I think we're Star Wars.
Shoot, I would have gone with number 4. I think we're the Three Stooges, honestly.
Larry, Moe, and Curly. That's what went through my head first.
I'm Curly.
No, Mark and Dee Dee and I think that's like where we're at.
I love it. I love it.
Or Three Musketeers, something. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what are some other famous trios that exist? So that's pretty funny. All right, Three Stooges. That's what we're going with.
All
right. So
how about Batman, Robin, and Catwoman?
There you go.
That too.
That's a good one. Definitely.
There's a lot of good trios out there.
Yeah. Three Amigos.
I love it. I love it. So let me just give a brief introduction for everybody that's watching. So Dr. David Hornbrook is an internationally renowned speaker, cosmetic dentist, and mentor. He was ranked by his peers as one of the world's top 3 cosmetic dentists. Super impressive. Dr. Mark Montgomery is a teacher, dentist, mentor, philosopher. I added in there. He's got a unique skill of Mark has always been able to take concepts that would traditionally be difficult to learn and break them down into simple systems for implementation into your practice. Dee Dee is an extremely talented coach and mentor. She's got over 20 years of practice management experience and was named one of 25 top women in dentistry. Mark and Dee Dee also co-founded Amplified Dynamics, and they're going to have a special at the end of this interview. So stay tuned for that. And, all 3 of you guys as key influencers, you're so passionate about dentistry, and it's just infectious. So we're so happy to connect with you guys today. So before we begin, I just want to mention some information about Zoom webinar. So if you experience any problems with your audio, I want to recommend that you disable your computer audio and reconnect via your telephone line. This is going to be recorded and it will be available shortly after the interview as well. And we'll take questions at the end of the interview. So just please submit those in the Q&A panel in Zoom webinar. So with all of that, welcome to the 3 of you, and thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us. This is great.
So tell me first, how are you guys doing? What's happening with dentists in your regions? What are you hearing from people? Give us a little update.
Well, I'll start. I think that we've had a really interesting experience over the last year with dentists, and I think the most intriguing thing that's happened has been that dentists have really taken on and owned the knowledge and the commitment they have to making things work for their patients. And it's crazy because people are saying, well, I don't know if I would go to the dentist. And I'm saying, well, that's crazy because the dental office is probably the cleanest place you could ever go anywhere. And then the dentists have done all this upgrading of their air filtrations and their vacuum systems and their PPEs and all that. They have been so committed to making their patient experience work, and it's been really inspiring. And different ones have gone to different levels, but it's been really inspiring to see them step up and own their knowledge of pathology and viruses and controlling their work environment. It's been incredible. I've been really impressed.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot in the last few months that we've been forced to get online. and to incorporate this type of medium with our patients, with our teams, with our consultations, and, you know, doing a lot of stuff virtually, which has enabled them, our doctors, to actually reach a bigger audience. And so we've seen that, you know, some that may have been slow to do that have just like overnight said, okay, I've got to take the plunge and I've got to jump in and I'm just going to do it. So it's been fun, super fun.
Yeah. You know, I'll add to that. And, you know, it's been an interesting, obviously, 7 months for all of us. But, you know, I agree with Mark. I think that dentists have stepped up. We've always done with, you know, general precaution, universal precautions. We've always done a really good job in infection control. And I think, at least in my office, for those who don't know, I still am a practicing dentist, have an office. We just kind of had to revisit stuff that we've always done, and maybe we, you know, lapsed a little bit. You know, it's like, maybe we should keep doing what we used to do. Why did we stop doing that? And it's really been a wake-up call and we didn't make major changes. It was just like, you know, some of these things that maybe wearing a mask, it just, you know, from patient to patient, you know, things like that. But what I've seen, and you know, we were talking earlier, Jen, before we actually got online, that I've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of webinars, because my travel has been, you know, pretty much non-existent. And Mark and I had to cancel all our live patient courses this year, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But what I've seen is dentists really step up in educating each other in the webinar. It's like, you know, yeah, I know that we should be doing this, but what's that hydrochloric acid again? And what are we supposed to do with filtration? Everyone's like stepping up and saying, this is knowledge that I got, wherever they got it from, infectious disease experts, you know, whoever it was. They're saying, let me share with you what someone shared with me, you know, at no cost, you know, no anticipation of reward, either monetary or success. And it's been really cool to see our profession step up and say, we want to be at the top, which I think we are anyway, but we want to be at the top. We want to offer our patients the best care possible. And, you know, what's interesting is, you know, we took 10 weeks off of our practice. You know, I'm in California, so Newsom kind of said, even though it wasn't a mandate, it's like emergencies only, you know, bleeding, swelling, or severe pain. And, you know, I'm an aesthetic dentist. You know, for me, you know, a tragic emergency is my temporary broke. So we really weren't seeing patients, you know, like most people were. But we took 10 weeks off, and almost as soon as we came back, we were crazy busy. And I've been in practice 33 years now. Our last 3 months have been our 3 best months. And that's what I'm hearing across the industry. I think people, you know, patients overall trust their dentist. They see the things that we've done to make sure that it's a safe and healthy environment for them. And they're coming back and saying, listen, I want my dentistry done. I'm ready. You know, I'm ready to get my teeth cleaned again because I missed my 3-month interval. And so it's kind of an exciting time, honestly, for dentistry, because we can be better dentists. We can offer healthier care, and our patients are excited about getting their dentistry done.
I agree with you guys that the dentists have really stepped up, and team members have stepped up when it comes to the virtual training. I mean, for a company of ours and you guys alike that have been involved in so much in-person training, the question that I most wanted to kind of ask you guys that I'll lead into is, you know, in-person live training has always allowed dentists and teams to more easily embrace comprehensive dentistry, right? And I know the courses that you guys are involved with Utah Valley, you know, I know they're going to be taking place again this year, and it's such a bummer you had to cancel those next year. It's a bummer that you guys had to cancel them this year. There are concepts you can learn online, but when you look at learning comprehensive dentistry, full mouth dentistry, occlusion, are those things able to be taught virtually, or is there any substitute for the in-person live? I'm like so curious about this, because as a company, this is something that we struggle with as well.
Yeah, you mind if I start with that one, Mark and Dee? I was thinking about that, and so you know, my short answer is absolutely not. There's no substitute for that. Yeah. And I'm an analogy person, and analogy for me would be you're 15 years old and you're getting ready to get your permit and your driver's license. right? And yeah, I can watch a video and I can even have a simulator, on my Xbox, but it's not until I actually get behind the wheel and realize, shoot, this is totally different, right? I mean, where I'm really getting my knowledge to be a safe driver and an efficient driver and confident is being behind the wheel, and someone say, hey, you know what, you forgot this, or you did this, or whatever. And I think live patient, and whether it's a occlusal evaluation using T-scan, whether it's live patient in aesthetic court, I mean, it's almost irrelevant. Laser training, I think the opportunity to see it done and have someone mentoring you there personally is invaluable. I've been doing live patient, Mark and I have, for the last 25 years. And, so it's obviously I'm biased. I want everyone to come to these live patient courses, but it's really the acknowledgement we get from people that have gone through our courses. People say, I used to do, a lot of veneers, or I thought I was really good at occlusion. I didn't realize these things until I actually saw you do them, or you sat down with me and said, let's make these little changes to make it better. So I think it's mandatory. I'm really excited. Sorry, my allergies are bothering me a little bit. I'm really excited about 2021 because we've already got our courses. They're filling, and a couple of them are almost full. I mean, people want to get out, and people realize there's no substitute for that.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll make sure, just to kind of, before you add into that, Dee Dee, we'll make sure that for those that have enrolled and, registered to listen to this portion of this series, we'll make sure that we send the dates for your guys' courses for next year for sure.
That'd be awesome.
That's, yeah. I mean, we feel that way too, right? In person is certainly, but go ahead, Dee Dee. Sorry.
I think that, David, you're right. I mean, it is in the camaraderie of being side by side and looking at, a mounted case and going, okay, let's look at it from all these different directions. You don't really get that as well online. And it's pointing out the little details in a live patient course that you would learn on. We have 27 different smiles, and it's like there's 27 different light bulbs that go off. It's like, oh, well, this one has a dark ring at the gingival edge. How will we handle that? And this one's torqued in a weird direction. It's like, how would you handle that? And it's like all of those little things, but it's sitting side by side with them and really looking at those details. I think sometimes with the online things, Mark and I have done some leadership study club online, and we found that we've created a really intimate group where we're really sharing from the heart. I think that has been really great in that they've had safety to go, you know what, I kind of suck at this. And how are you guys handling that? And, I had this situation with one of my team members, and, I don't like telling everybody that, but in this group, I know that we're all, for each other, and we're going to be supporting each other. And so that part of it, I think we've had some real success in doing online, but I don't think that there's anything that that compares to the relationships and the things that, I mean, we learn more sitting at the bar after the course.
We don't really kind of courses, no.
Right, but talking through, like, what did we learn today? Where did we have our successes? So I don't think there's a substitute for that.
Yeah, I'd like to just kind of tie those two things together and say that, not only are there amazing nuances clinically and technically when you're live and in person, and you get to work together with a bunch of different cases and look at different situations, but we also get the opportunity to start mentorship relationships and friendship relationships that then can carry into having online connections later. But that stuff that happens live and in person and on the fly is that they're really, I mean, I agree with David. I hate to kind of say it, but there isn't much of a substitute for that. And
what's going to be, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think what's going to be really cool is because there's been so much activity going on online, I think it's opened up to a lot more dentists that may not have been able to, maybe because of family, or, they live in India, or wherever it is, it may not be easy for them to access this type of education. I think when live courses do open back up again, and it's going to be like a huge influx of people that were kind of prepped and have been learning all these concepts, but have said now, oh my God, I need to dive in and do more and really dedicate more time to this, because they a little bit like realize that, they don't know what they don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I need to do this live. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I think people are ready. People are ready to get back to the relationships. Like I said,
we miss each other, right?
I've done all these Zoom meetings, and I'm such an eye contact person. For those that have seen me speak, I work the audience, and it's been so hard to give a 2 or 3 hour presentation and ask a question and realize I don't know if people are raising their hand or not. Not to make eye contact. And at me on this side of the podium, the people in the audience, they want the same thing. They want that interaction. They want the relationship. And so I think people are ready to travel and ready to spend intimate personal time with people that they want to learn more from or share with or whatever.
I want to add one more thing to that. And I think that is that we were kind of on a big wheel, a big roll with all the new technologies that we've added into our practices, and with all the new techniques that are out there, whether it's implant techniques or reconstruction techniques or scanning techniques, or all of these things that have been added in, and we've been on a wheel to just kind of try and keep up, and it's been really hard to incorporate these things into our practice. And then in addition to that, we get busy trying to keep all those pieces put together and all those balls in the air. And it's when we go and take a couple of weekends at a course where we can fly somewhere, we can page through the manuals, we can look at the photographs of what we've done, and we can get in and have a relationship and really talk through things. In a way, I think it slows us down from the rat race, but it increases our productivity in a huge way. So if what I'm seeing happen now is any indication, I agree with David. People are ready to get back into this search for excellence, this quest for an experience that will take them to a new level. And that's exciting to me, because we love being in the middle of other people's journey and growth and that kind of stuff. It's so much fun.
Yeah, so I want to change gears a little bit and talk. You mentioned, people having to slow down, right? And obviously everybody with COVID and their lives, I think it presents a unique opportunity for dentists that they've been able to spend more time with their patients. And I guess I'm questioning, is that true, that they've had more time now with their patients? And if so, what are a few key things that dentists or teams can do during that time to engage their patients more? Because I've heard people are seeing less, you've got to see less patients, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'd like to start this. So just because of all the PPE changeovers and all the things we have to do for infection control, it has kind of slowed the roll a little bit. But where the slowdown really happened was in the brains of the dentists, when they realized that they were going to be not in the office for a while, and where they had to really take stock of what was motivating them and what they were fired up about and what they weren't fired up about, and how can they get back that juice that they had early in their career. And there just was this time of like reflection, and there was this the like, am I going to survive thing? But in the midst of that survival, dentist after dentist has chosen not to be a victim of the circumstances, but to manifest the things that they really love and what they love to do. And that's so I've seen dentists, change their schedules, change their work schedules, change the number of days, change their employees. I mean, we had one dentist that we were working with. His hygienists were scared to come back. He totally worked with no hygienists for 2 months and used those times to do all kinds of emergencies. And he turned a lot of those emergencies into comprehensive treatment. And that wouldn't have happened if he would have been running from hygiene chair to hygiene chair. And it was just like big light bulbs going off. So I think a lot of the slowdown has been, really getting our juice back, really figuring out what it is that makes us tick. And I've had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I think it's been that reflection time. But, speaking to the doctor you were just talking about, Mark, really getting back to the things that we love to do with patients. It's like we have a very special place in the world in being able to have these deep relationships with people and having them for a lifetime and being able to slow down and actually connect with our patients. We've had our doctors that have had their best months ever, and even like best year ever, even after taking 10 weeks off. And it's like, whoa, I didn't know I could take 10 weeks off and still actually, from a financial standpoint, do even better. So it's like a whole new perspective. We've had some doctors go from 4 days to 3 days. So they're way more efficient. They've gotten, their systems really solidified and took advantage of the time off where we could do more training. It's like the list of things that you would do when you have more time. They really capitalized on that and were able to, increase the knowledge for their team, the procedures that they are providing for their patients so that they're at a higher level. And ultimately that ends up being with more comprehensive dentistry so that we're changing more lives, which is really the satisfaction point for a lot of us, in what we do in our work.
David, did you want to add anything to that or no?
Yeah, I think they kind of hit the nail on the head. It's about slowing down and realizing why we chose dentistry in the first place. I think a lot of dentists and, even some close friends of mine, that they got into this rat race, seeing way too many patients and couldn't wait till 5 o'clock, couldn't wait till Friday. And they've been forced to slow down. And now it's like, wow, this is kind of a cool profession. I'm not seeing 30 patients a day because I can't. I have an opportunity to find out that, Mr. Jones has a son that's in the military because I've never talked to them before. I think it's a reflection time for a lot of dentists to say, what, this is really cool. I get to sit and I get to know people that care about me and I care about them. And so I think it's been really good as a slowdown. And it's been tough financially, I think, for a lot of dentists where, they've created this machine that requires 30 patients a day. And that's tough. But those patients typically or those doctors typically are not happy and they're burnt out early, especially with young dentists. They've got into this machine of having to do this over and over and over like a hamster on a wheel. And they've had to slow down. And I think more dentists are saying, you know what, this is actually a cool, fun profession if I slow down. And like Dee and Mark said, all of a sudden you have to create different systems so that it works. And a lot of that one system I think is most important is listening to your patient and having time for your patient. And, I think we've all experienced that, living in downtown San Diego, I go out to eat every night. And what I found is the service is so much better because there's only 3 tables that one waiter has. So all of a sudden they're like, hey, how's it been? Good to see you. How's your dog? What have you been doing? This and that. So all of a sudden it's like, I didn't even know he knew who I was. And now all of a sudden he knows everything about me, he or she. And I think we can transfer that. And I think patients expect that we'll spend a little bit more time with them.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for VIP service and the opportunity to really have people feel special in our environment. So I love it.
So for the dentist that's listening, that's still feeling crazy, they're still a bit unfocused, they're, feel like they're still running around, stressed to the max. What's a good first step for them to start to take control of this? I guess, and get into that mode of slowing down, spending more time with your patients, presenting comprehensive dentistry?
I love the question. If you step back and you look at your practice and you're considering, you're letting go of the past of what the practice was or what the thought of what you thought it was, and you look at your practice from a perspective of, what if this was a startup? How would you want it to be? How, if you could design it any way you want? And we've had doctors that we've worked with who are like, whoa, I've been a dentist for 25 years. And what do you mean I got a startup? But it was like, whoa, if I'm going to build something new,
right, what would it be?
Like I have a clean slate, and it's like, how do I want to work for the next 10 years, in the end of my career? And it's been fun to see that mindset shift, and then having someone to bounce ideas off of that, has the empathy for understanding the rat race and having, being on a hamster wheel and feeling like you've got roller skates on all day long, and being able to take a step back and looking at the systems. It's like, what are the procedures that I enjoy the most in providing to my patients, but having a different, just taking a whole different look, putting on new lenses, if you will, and then taking a look at the practice in the big picture.
Mm-hmm. Mark or David?
I think a lot of dentists, they had to take a lot of time off, right? And so I think they reevaluated what's important to their life.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, oh shoot, I get to go to my kid's football game or play or whatever. I get to take them to the park, take them to the beach, whatever's open at the time. But I think that it's a reevaluation time for a lot of people that was forced. Just like I tell my patients, I had a 10-week vacation, but I really couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go where I wanted to go. I've never been able to take a 10-week vacation of my life. And now I was forced to, and I'm kind of limited where I can go. But, it forced them to spend time with their family, spend time at home, spend time reevaluating, am I happy in my life? Whether, I've been out of school 5 years, I've been out of school 40 years, it doesn't matter. And I think that reflection, as Dee Dee and Mark said, that reflection is important, especially if you're going to be in practice, for many more years and you want to be happy.
I still remember Mike DeTola coming to PAC Live and doing guest presentations for us, and he said, he says, I got into dentistry for one reason and one reason only, and that was every year. He said my dad was a dentist, and every year he took the entire month of August off, and we went to Hawaii, and I got to bring a friend, and I would tell that story to a dentist, and they think, how do you take 4 weeks off? Like in a row, you take the whole month off? And
it never happens anymore, right?
Well, except now these dentists are going, I did that and I'm doing better now. So maybe I should rethink how I prioritize my whole year and how I rethink what I do. I agree with David. It's like they kind of get back to the heart of what they love about dentistry.
All right, great. I'm going to move it a little bit clinical with my question now. So, we've heard as TechScan, we've heard a lot of clinicians that are using technologies like T-Scan, like intraoral scanners, all sorts of stuff like this to, help in patient communication of occlusal problems, especially when their treatment planning appointments are happening virtually. So I'm curious from you guys, are you seeing more doctors do less face-to-face treatment planning appointments, more online treatment planning appointments, or, either way? I guess also if you could add on what the value of T-Scan or some of these other technologies might bring to that appointment, because it's something that we've heard from our doctors, but I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on that as well.
Let me start with that. I've seen more of the internet consults, right, or the non-face-to-face in smile designs. All these virtual smile designs, because it's not like I can say, hey, Jen, smile. Yeah, you've got a crooked tooth. Yeah. This is what you can do for it, right? Yeah, I'm just using you as an. I didn't do your smile right then.
That one over there.
Yeah, that one over there. Yeah. Irrelevant if you have any back teeth or not, we can totally fix it, right?
Yeah.
You see a lot of that. I think it's just, again, I think it's a good tool, but I think it's also a tool that a lot of people adopted because they couldn't see their patients, right? I mean, about 2 months ago, I did a full mouth rehab on a plastic surgeon's wife, and he was in my consult room doing all these virtual consults with his patients for rhinoplasties and facelifts and whatnot. So I saw that on that side, right? But I think it's a good tool. I think it would be difficult, and as you know, I'm a huge T-scan user, for the last 20 years. It's technology that it could not be replaced in my office. I mean, it's something that if I went back to what Dee Dee said, and it's like I get an opportunity to build my dream office, I mean, T-scan would have to be included in that, right? I don't know how I would use that. It is a virtual concept. Maybe Dee Dee and Mark have a better idea with that.
No, I think that's, yeah.
What I think is that once we are back to face, and there's a little deviation of what your question was. I think people are going to start looking at your office with a little bit more scrutiny. I've had a doctor's appointment. I actually had my blood drawn for my yearly deal for my phlebotomist today. I'm looking around thinking, what are they doing different? What are they incorporating into? In the phlebotomist, there was nothing that was different, but except for me wearing a mask, that was like the only difference. But I think people, especially with longer appointments, they're going to look around and say, what are they doing different first to protect my health? Are they spraying things down? Are they all wearing masks? Are they washing their hands? Are they not touching their glasses? Things like that. Then they're going to start looking around and say, well, what else might be different now that I'm happen to be looking around, right? And I think, with the whole, digital extravaganza that, medicine and dentistry is experiencing, they're going to look around, they're going to say, that looks different. Even if I've had it for 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. That looks different. This looks different. They're keeping up. And if they're keeping up in technology and digital, they're definitely going to keep up in infection control and protecting my safety.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
And I think that's where technology is so important. They're looking around and say, wow, that looks new. That scanner's cool. It looks like my laser, and you do in-office. I mean, all these things we've been doing forever, right? But all of a sudden they see, wow, they're keeping up, and they're going to offer me better care than if I went somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that's a silent message that's communicated in our offices, as they're looking around. But back to Jen, what you ask, I think using TekScan on a virtual consultation or treatment planning is a great tool for Zooming somebody in who may not be able to be there in person. Mm-hmm. So you've got the patient with you, but it could be a spouse or a family member, and we have them on Zoom so they can ask questions in the background. We can also pull up their TekScan on screen share, mm-hmm. so that they can see what the patient's seeing. And, there's a lot of times where, it's multiple people in the household are making health decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And who would I rather be having the explanation being given? Would it rather be myself or the doctor, or is it the spouse that goes home and gives a dollar amount on what the treatment plan is, which
but doesn't show
works well,
right? Doesn't show any problems.
It totally sucks. But on the TekScan, you can see the detail in the movie, in action, and be able to appreciate that this is different. This is high tech. This is state of the art. And if I'm going to have, really comprehensive dentistry taken on, and I'm going to make an investment like that I want the very best for myself. I want the person who has the latest technology and is highly skilled in that area. Mm-hmm. So I think we can use it both in the office and online for mm-hmm. the people who, we can FaceTime all the time, but I like having it on Zoom because we're screen sharing and stuff.
Yeah, so. Yeah, totally.
So I've got just a couple of things to add to that, and that is that first, I think what Dee Dee, what you said is really powerful in the idea that when someone's in your office and they are ready to make a decision, and they didn't happen to bring other people with them because they're kids are being homeschooled now, and not everybody can show up to every appointment. There are situations where it's really, really cool to zoom in 2 or 3 different deciders, or 2 or 3 different advisors, or even another specialist or dentist or orthodontist, or whoever you might need in that consult. The technology for doing these video conversations is extremely helpful. And the other part of that is it's a lot different than being on the phone. And I think we've all experienced that we get to see people's body language and their facial expressions, and are they engaged, and we can, call them out when we need to call them out and say, hey, did you get that? Or what are you thinking about this? And when we have an opportunity to do a virtual situation, that's a good thing. Where we've seen most usage of virtual is not so much in that process with a lot of technology, but that the technology then that happens in person then gets shared back out virtually.
Yeah.
So I think that's so I agree with David. We're going to spend more time. We're going to do it in the office. They're going to see all this new stuff and all this great stuff that we're doing, and then they're going to go home and say, hey, I want you to get on this meeting with me so we can talk about what's possible. Those are awesome things and great tools. And then the virtual thing has become great for people who have small emergencies, or have, I broke my front tooth, or I broke my veneer, I broke my, when we can have them get on Zoom or get on iPhone, FaceTime, and maybe we gave them some retractors so they could help us see things while they were in their temporaries. There are a lot of ways that we can use video technology that we haven't even thought of yet, but it's working really well for ortho checks and splint checks and a lot of different things that go on. But there's no substitute for having that patient there and having them have a relationship, not just with the technology, but with you as well.
Yeah. I know for me as a patient, it's like, there's sometimes where I know it's better for me to be in the office for whatever appointment it is. And then other times I'm like, I just need to have a quick conversation. Like, let's just talk. So that's been helpful too. But all right. So the last question here before we go to Q&A is, what's one pearl that dentists of all ages can do today with respect to improving communication with their patients?
I've got one. So utilizing the technology with video. So after you've done your exam, you've talked about big comprehensive treatment, and doing a recap, recording yourself on Zoom, and then sending the link to the patient. And it's a private link, so that anybody who has the link can share it with family members, anyone that makes that decision. So it's things to think about between that exam appointment and then when we actually present all of their case presentation. So it's a kind of a recap so that the doctor is actually talking over they pop up the x-rays, they pop up the CBCT, they pop up their T-scan and their photographs and go, we talked about this, and this area over here has a lot of decay and there's fractures here. And, and we're using the technology, we're recording it. Now it becomes a medical record, and it's something that can be shared with whoever's going to come with them for the financial consultation.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That it's everybody gets to be involved.
I like that.
Yeah, we don't do that, Dee Dee, but I think that's an awesome idea.
Yeah, Mike, that's a good one. Yeah,
that's a good one. I'll take notes, right?
I was taking notes. I'm like, all right.
I'll just call Mark knows I don't take notes. I'll just call him and say, what did she say again?
Yeah.
What was it I was supposed to do?
There has to be pictures involved. Mark, as you said earlier, Mark is a philosopher, but he's probably the most well-read person I've ever met. And he'll tell me about a book, and I say, "Is something I'd want?" And he goes, "No, not enough pictures."
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Right.
I get it. I think, we've kind of hit on, throughout this conversation, and Dee Dee even hit with the Zoom thing. And I think, and the best tools, and it's not new. It's been around since everyone's been practicing. And I think just sitting and listening to your patient.
Mm-hmm.
I think we just get so caught up in telling our patient instead of listening to them. And I think this is an opportunity. We're slowing down. I mean, you're absolutely right. We're spending more time cleaning between rooms. We're not seeing as many patients. Hygiene, they want to let their room sit for 10 to 15 minutes, after we spray it down for the next. I mean, we have the time. Let's utilize it and listen to our patients. And at that point, then you can listen. What are their needs? What are their desires? What are their wants? Then you can use technology. I want to be healthy. I don't want to have headaches at night. This is some technology that will meet your needs. I want a nicer smile. I don't want bad breath, whatever it is. But I think we just need to get out of, we got to see that next patient right away, because we got to pay the nut at the end of the month. And that's tough, because I know there's listeners that are going to say, but I do have this big nut every month, right?
Yeah.
But we can change, and we can practice longer, and we can raise our fees. I mean, there's things we can do to practice type of dentistry that we want to do. And that's where Dee Dee and Mark, with their amplified dynamics, are so good at that. But I think listen to your patients so that what technology they'd be interested in, quite frankly. If you overwhelm them with technology, I remember when I first started practicing, I had a smile design program, where I would, and it was very, rudimentary. Basic. It was really bad. And I wasn't very good at it at the time. This would have been, it was in my old office. So it was 28 years ago. And, they were looking at it, they weren't really impressed. And, I'm messing with all this technology, and they didn't really want to see that. I just wanted to use it because I spent so much money on it, and I had to use it, because otherwise I'd feel like I wasted my money, and I didn't have any money when I first started practicing. But I think listening to your patient, finding out what really is their motivation that they're in your office, how can technology support that. And we with COVID, I'll tell you, we just got a brand new Trios scanner. We had one before, and then we sent it back. I'll tell you, patients love that. The fact that we can talk about that technology, not only is it state of the art and digital, but it's also like an infection control a little bit. We're not using trays, we're not using guns, we're not using all these things, and T-Scan fits right into it with what's driving you to be in this office. Why'd you choose me? I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be comfortable. I want to be headache free. I want my teeth to last my lifetime. This is some technology that will help.
Listening is one of those concepts that seems like, oh, that should just be so easy, right? In every aspect of our life, right? It's like it
seems like it, doesn't it?
Continuous.
So I want
courses. When the dentist will say, they'll start to talk to us, and I'll say, well, what did the patient want? I don't really know.
And they don't know.
They don't know. It's like, dude.
It's like,
that's like the saying.
You had the patient in your office. Like, did you take notes? Like, why are they here?
Yeah, that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We're supposed to use both of these to it
in proportion. Yeah.
So I want to just if I'm going to offer a pearl, I mean, David basically very well said what I would say, which is listen. I want to just expand it one notch out, and that is that not only have we been inconvenienced and put out and stressed out by what's been going on, but so have our patients. And I would say that part of that listening that we need to do is to really bring all of our curiosity and empathy to the relationship, so that they feel like there's somebody who out there who can offer them some hope and a way forward. And we like to think of it in terms of a beautiful smile or a great occlusion and all that stuff, but really, where else are people going to go to get the kind of hope for a quality of life that we have an opportunity to provide? And that, to me, that is the big thing. And in order to do that, I think we have to turn our examinations into an exploratory adventure. You know, that we have to, when a patient comes in to see us, we have to realize that we're not here just to poke around in their mouth and find more crap that's wrong with their life. We're here to really dig in deep and find a way forward for them, and you know, and create an adventure for them that is going to last a lifetime, that they will never forget the time that they came to see Dr. Hornbrook and got this amazing smile and it changed their life. And oh man, if I had it to do over again, I would just do it 10 years sooner. You know, I mean, these are the things that really bring about a good kind of change for our patients when we can be enthusiastic and passionate so I've been watching these Peloton commercials on TV, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not going to get one.
He's hooked on the commercial.
But I'm hooked on the commercials because in the background is this trainer talking to him about, okay, let's roll, let's ride, let's get fired up. We got 2 more laps to go. And I'm thinking, well, I got 3 more teeth to floss. Let's go, let's brush. Come on, put the disclosing solution on. I want to create some excitement and passion for my patients in the same way that they would want a trainer to bring enthusiasm to their life changes. We need to bring some enthusiasm to what we do. And you know, maybe we don't have to have a trainer screen or something like that, but you know, I think that there's a lot to be said. I mean, my friend David always says that enthusiasm equals credibility, and we need to step up for our patients and give them some hope and fire them up about what's next in their life.
I think that's awesome insight from all of you guys. Let me just I'll take a couple questions from the audience. I've got one that's wondering about, so when courses resume, should I bring the team? So the question is, should they bring team to the courses? Yes,
please.
Yeah.
So
only if you want to implement.
Yeah. So we made it in our courses. We made it very affordable for team members. I mean, literally the cost. It's between the food, the manuals, and all these. I mean, you couldn't do that on a weekend for what we charge for the team members.
Right.
We did it very intentionally, and we did it because doctors that did bring their team members were ecstatic about it. Ones that were there said, "I wish I would have brought my team members."
Yeah.
Right. So I would say absolutely.
Perfect. So how long, this question is, how long should I take with each patient when talking to them about my treatment plan for full mouth dentistry? Is there a length, or is it just, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Oh, that there's so many avenues we could go with that question.
A loaded question.
Yeah, it's because you've got to listen for their readiness. You've got to listen to where they are in their life, what results they're looking for. Are they ready from a financial standpoint? I actually had this conversation with a team member today and was talking about, you know, as a treatment coordinator, if I'm going to present a $40,000 treatment plan or more, are they prepared to hear that? And a lot of times it could be on the 3rd appointment before we present the finances. But if I'm not setting them up to be able to be prepared for that in appointment 1 and 2, when they come in for the case presentation and they hear a 40,000 plus treatment plan, then they're like, whoa, I had no idea it was going to be that much. And so we talked about, you know, really throwing us a softball and going, wow, you brought me complicated. You know, my doctor's so great at complicated. I'm so excited. But, you know, what this looks like is that there's going to be a large investment here. Mm-hmm. And have you thought about how you were going to work that into your budget? and there, have you thought about how you were going to handle the investment in really getting you healthy? Because you told me that health was, on a scale of 1 to 10 was a 10 for you, and your mouth doesn't look like a 10 yet. We can get you there. It's going to take time. It's going to take money, and it's going to take effort on both of our parts in order to get you there. Have you considered all 3 of those things? And we're here to walk with you side by side to get you to that result. But I mean, we've got to be able, it's not about explaining the procedures. Doctors, it's not about that. Nobody cares about the procedures. They want to know that you're not going to hurt them, that you're going to take good care of them, and that you have a clean office, and that we can fit it into their budget.
Right.
Yeah. Because they don't want to go to dental school with you. So it's timing, depends on who's on your team, who is doing some of the education in your office. Is it you as a doctor doing 100% of that education? And what is it that you can delegate to your team to set you up to spend a limited time so that you can be in the operatory creating life-changing results?
And I think I'll just add to that, answering that question a little bit, where it's just talk to Mark and Dee Dee and set up some time with them, and they will walk you through how long that should be.
I just want to say that whole process is personnel dependent. It's personality dependent. It's communication dependent. And once it starts to flow in the right direction, boy, look out, because great things can happen. And some people are very intuitive, like my friend David, and he can sense these things that Dee Dee was talking about just within minutes of meeting someone. And others of us, we've spent too much time measuring things with a ruler, and we think that everything's got to have a certain cephalometric analysis before we can do something. And I've learned so much about just creating an opportunity for the patient to move themselves forward and being the support for that, and not necessarily the explainer in chief. When I turn into the explainer, it never works.
Perfect. Well, I think I'll end there on that last question. I just want to thank you guys so much for your time and for sharing your passions. Although we didn't touch much on the T-scan, I want to let people know that are on the interview that there are 4 workshops that are available to the audience. The goal was not to dive deep into T-scan here. So they can be accessed with your enrollment into the series. If any questions come up during the interviews that you're watching in this series or the workshops and you'd like to speak with us directly, please just reach out to us at 617-464-4500 or at info@tekscan.com, tekscan.com. We will, in a follow-up email, provide you with some special information from Mark and Dee Dee. I don't know if Dee Dee, you want to talk about that a little bit? Or?
We have a really cool form for the people out there that are using TekScan now, and you want to create some real simplicity to be able to gather that data from your T-scan and have all of your red flags in one spot, and your balance left to right, and all of those things. We've got a really great form that you can download for free, so that you've got all of the data where you need it and where you can pull that data to make great decisions on treatment planning, and awesome. And be able to teach your team with it, and be able to teach your patients on what we're seeing, what's working, what's not working, and how we can get them moving forward.
Awesome. I can't wait to have people check that out. So thank you guys so much. Everybody that's here, have a great night or day, whatever time it is. We have people from all over the world. So, please join us as we continue with this TekTalk series, but so great to see you guys. And thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for the invitation.
Sure.